Good afternoon and happy Super Bowl Sunday to all of your sunshiny faces. Guys, can I just say, this was probably the boringest Super Bowl I have ever experienced. I told you guys, I think before, I was like, after Kansas City didn't make it into the Super Bowl, because that's who I was kind of rooting for, and even though I didn't want the Saints to go to the Super Bowl, I honestly think the Saints being in the Super Bowl would have been a way more entertaining game. Matthew even said too that if the Packers were in the Super Bowl, he probably would have rooted for them, just because he thought that they would have made it more entertaining than the Rams and the Patriots, who, guys, they played good defense. I mean, it was a 3-13 was the final score, and so it was a really low scoring game. So like, I guess defense kind of played good, but it was like there was no offense like at all. And it wasn't even so much the fact that like the defense played good. Like, I think they were just like okay, but like it seemed like either team like couldn't score, and up until the third quarter there was no touchdowns. It was just a field goal from either team. So it was, like I said, just like such a boring football game that I was like, is this really like the two best teams in the NFL that made it to the Super Bowl? I was like, clearly not, because it was not entertaining whatsoever. I mean, I guess they were the best that made it there, but I totally think that the Saints should have been in the Super Bowl. Although, like I said, I'm not a Saints fan. I didn't want them to be in the Super Bowl, but I think they should have been, and I also think that it would have made for a much, much, much better football game. And if they were playing the Patriots, I think that they would have won, like, hands down. I didn't want to see the Patriots win another Super Bowl. Like, honestly, guys, I don't think most people really do want to. And on top of that, too, I also think that Kansas City, like, not that they should have been, but I think that they were really good team all regular season. Like, the Patriots weren't a good team all regular season. Like, and then on top of that, too, like, the Rams were, like, okay, I guess. I mean, they were a good team. They were, you know, one of the undefeated teams for most of the season, but they didn't have an identity. Like, you know, the Bears have a defense that's like phenomenal. You know, the Saints and Kansas City have just an offense that's like crazy good, and like a lot of really well-known players. I feel like Goff, who's like not a veteran quarterback or anything like that, like Drew Brees is, and established and stuff like that. And I feel like the Saints have like a lot of like well-established, like not even so much veterans, but like just like I said, well-established like players on their team too. And like even Kansas City too. And then Mahomes is a 2-year quarterback, I think, because I think he was drafted the same draft as Trubisky. But like even them, like they have like well-known established players, I feel like, other than again a 2-year quarterback. But like, you know, he's talked about and stuff like that. I felt like the Rams like weren't, like, again, they were talked about, but like who were they talking about on the team? Like I said, like other than Gurley, like there wasn't really anybody on that team that I like was like, oh yeah, like I want to root for that guy, I want to root for that guy. Like, I really didn't care, and I can't stand the Patriots, so of course I'm not rooting for them. I kind of like the lesser of two evils, and like I just didn't want the Patriots to win, so I rooted for the Rams, which again, like I said though, it was just a boring football game. Like, I feel like almost having anybody else in the game would have made it somewhat more entertaining, but like, I don't know, like, and not that football's all about like scoring points and stuff like that, but at the same time too, I mean, like defense, and so I think I'm more of a defense-minded person, but like it's not entertaining when you don't, like, you know, and there wasn't even like a really great run, or like, you know, the defense are making all these crazy plays. It was just like, it seemed like neither team had anything like going for them. Like, the Rams couldn't establish a drive, but their defense played really well. But then, like, you know, the Patriots defense played well and like would stop, like, you know, them, but they'd move the ball, but like the Patriots never, like, there was never a point where you were like, wow, this game just like got away from them, or like even to just like a competitive game, but like a back and forth kind of game, like you score, I score, and like some good moves and stuff like that, and like some great runs, and like it was none of that. It was just a plain, like, vanilla game that was just, like, honestly, I'd rather watch some high school game. I feel like half the time they were more entertaining than the Super Bowl this year. Like, it really was not, like I said, entertaining for me at all. I think a lot of people felt that way too. And like, just to like even add insult to injury though, it was like, and then on top of that, the Patriots won, which I didn't want. But again, like, I couldn't care less about the Rams either, really. I just didn't want the Patriots to win. So yeah, guys. I also too, my mom made like a tater tot casserole like earlier, like for like an late lunch kind of thing. And then I made baked macaroni and cheese, and then I also ended up did the same thing for New Year's. Mozzarella crescent roll thingies that I've made, and like pigs in a blanket too, I also did those. And then we just had salsa and what's it called, ranch dip or French onion dip. And honestly, I was thinking about making some other stuff too, and I'm kind of happy that I didn't, because it was barely, like, I had so many leftovers. And so, like I said, I'm happy I didn't end up I didn't have a ton of the macaroni and cheese left over. There was like maybe like a fourth of the pan that I made. And we sent some home with Matthew's girlfriend for her mom, because her mom loves macaroni and cheese, I heard today. So my mom sent some home with her, which her and Matthew ended up going back to school tonight right after the game. And then also too, I had a ton though of like almost all the other stuff. Most of the little cheese like things were kind of gone, but the pigs in a blanket, there was a ton of those left. Like I said, I'm happy I didn't make so much food. Spent time making food today, which it didn't actually take me that long to make everything. Like I said, I only ended up doing 3 things really. And then just set out the dip and everything. My mom made the tater tot casserole stuff, which, like I said, I was gonna do more stuff, and I'm happy I didn't, because like it barely got eaten. So I felt like though, because the macaroni and cheese was like more of like a meal kind of thing, that's why everybody kind of filled up on that and didn't so much eat like the appetizer snack stuff. But yeah, it was just like, it was such a letdown. Like, our food wasn't good for the Super Bowl, the game wasn't good. Like, I felt like today was just like a bleh kind of day. Like, and I look forward to the Super Bowl every year, you know, and normally I like to do it because I like to, you know, have the party food, and, you know, I decorated kind of, we set up like this little streamer thingies that we got at the dollar store, and we had a banner thing from last year too. We had like plates and cups, like the football plates and cups that we got from the dollar store also. Everything was just like so let down today. The game, the food, not that the food wasn't good, it was just that like I felt like we didn't even have like that much of a variety of food anyway, but like barely anybody ate anything. Like I said, I kind of filled up on the macaroni and cheese too, so I didn't eat a whole ton of like the appetizer stuff. But Dad did make a list, or he came up with a list to look stuff up online of like questions and stuff like that, as far as like who would win the game, who would win the coin toss, who winning team wind up having the last points of the game, questions about the halftime show and the performance and stuff like that, and like the popular questions, because I guess I didn't even really know this up until like a few years ago. I guess that's like a huge thing in like the betting world or whatever, that like those type of things, like they bet on like what color Gatorade's gonna be poured on the coach at the end of the game, and like all these kind of like little things. You know, and so my dad just made a list and we all filled it out and stuff like that, and the winner got $20, which Matthew won. I lost by 1 point. It was actually for second place, it was a three-way tie or four-way tie between me and my dad, I think my mom, and my brother's girlfriend. Jack ended up with 6 points. We all ended up with 9. Matthew had 10. Which, guys, there was a few questions in there though that I didn't even really know. Like, it was a question about like the national anthem or something like that, and like a question about, I think, one of the ones in the halftime show that were like kind of more simple ones, but I didn't really know a whole lot about it. So yeah, I ended up getting a few wrong that were kind of easier ones, but then the like more difficult ones that were like completely by chance or whatever, I ended up getting those ones right. But it was like, I forget what one of the questions were. It was kind of more like, if you actually thought about it, you were like, well, I don't really know that would actually happen. It was just kind of more of a common sense kind of question. I didn't end up really knowing or understanding the questions, so I ended up getting those ones wrong. But yeah, so Matthew got $20 today for winning the football questionnaires. So that was kind of fun, and that was really the only fun today. Like I said, the baked macaroni and cheese, guys, it was really good. I made my homemade baked macaroni and cheese recipe, which is like my favorite one, although it didn't taste quite as cheesy. I feel like I need to add more cheese. It says a pound in the recipe, but I think from now on I'm either going to do 1.5 pounds or 2 pounds for like a whole thing, for a whole like 16 ounces, or like a pound, or like a box of like the pasta. Because I noticed the last time I think I made it too, it wasn't cheesy enough, and so it was like, it was good, but it wasn't like completely cheesy. And I always make sure with this recipe too, guys, I never use pre-shredded cheese. We always buy the brick cheese, and I always make Matthew shred it for me. So yeah, the consistency of it is like perfect. I just feel like it's not cheesy enough. And it's kind of more like watered down because you end up adding a lot of milk to it, but it's made with eggs. I feel like any type of macaroni and cheese that has egg in it tastes just like way better. Like it adds to like the fluffiness kind of to like the cheese and just makes it taste really good. So yeah, the macaroni and cheese was pretty good. That was probably one of the more highlights of the day. I feel like I'm just trying to kind of make sense of like, I wasn't even really watching the game. Like I couldn't even tell you guys like at one point, other than like there's 2 interceptions in the game. There was in total 3 field goals and 1 touchdown. Like other than that, there wasn't like, wow, like that guy had like a crazy hit. Like at the beginning there was like some hitting, and then towards like, you know, there was a couple like big plays and stuff like that and some good runs, but there wasn't anything that like stuck out in my mind like, holy cow, like that was an awesome, like I'm so happy I sat here and watched the game. Like there was none of that. Like I really felt like I wasted my time watching the football game today. And I never say that kind of thing either. I always am down for watching football, but this was so boring that, like I said, I would have rather watched like basketball or hockey or something like that, and some team I don't even care about either. Probably would have entertained me more than watching that football game. Yeah, even the halftime show I didn't even really think was like crazy amazing. I thought that Beyonce and Lady Gaga, like the last like 5 years, those two were probably my favorites. I don't think it was like amazing either. But anyways, guys, I'll see you all on tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye, guys.